A YouTube, it's Myzo here. So we are going to watch a video about illegal housing cartels in the US, because apparently that is a thing. I never heard of this here in Europe, so it's going to be pretty interesting. I hope. I don't know what are they doing, but I guess that's why they rent prices are so damn high.
It's late 2023, the Phoenix area. It's late 2023, the Phoenix area. Investigators with the State Attorney General's office are looking at apartment rents. They're up 76% since 2016. Something is off. These four building rents are 12% higher than others, but they offer similar amenities. They have different landlords, so you'd think they should be competing with one another. But they weren't. The prices were allegedly being set by one entity.
Holy fuck, those prices. Is that for a month? Holy shit. That's so much money.
An algorithm owned by a company called realpage. In fact, this was happening everywhere in the area.
That's old-fashioned price fixing using new technology.
Okay.
We allege, in effect, a housing cartel.
Over 2,000 miles away,
Housing cartel.
something similar is happening.
It's alleged that all of these different units, their prices were set by one single algorithm, which sounds bad.
And it could be happening in cities and states across the country.
That guy was not really convincing. What do you mean? It sounds bad? That's what I should be asking. You live there, what?
Renters have filed over 30 different lawsuits against realpage.
We're going to talk about what all this means, how algorithms, these black boxes of data, are shaping our markets and giving an incredible amount of power to the few, and how the Department of Justice and some state attorney generals are fighting back. Because this is a story about how a few lines of code broke the American housing market.
Did it?
What is
I heard that houses, like a normal house in LA, is like millions. Like millions of dollars. That is insanity.
realpage?
So RealPage is a company that operates software that allows landlords to input their data into an algorithm, and then RealPage sets the prices for all of those landlords. This is actually
Isn't it
against
good?
the law.
Attorney General
Why?
Mays isn't the only one alleging this.
Our allegations are that realpage, in combination with 14 of the largest landlords here in the District of Columbia, are effectively colluding with one another.
Across America, rent is
Oh.
up 20% since 2020. The Attorney Generals of Arizona
Okay,
and
see.
DC are suing RealPage and a host of big landlords, alleging that an algorithmic housing cartel is helping drive up prices.
That's disgusting.
In the pre-RealPage days, landlords would compete with one another.
They played a guessing game with rent prices. Push it too high and people move, leaving landlords hunting for new tenants. It was a delicate balance, a market. And I'm not sure if it was fair, but it wasn't rigged. An algorithm helped change all of that.
We're talking about an algorithm that aggregates otherwise confidential information that the landlords have that ordinarily they would not share with their competitors.
Data like rent prices, lease expiry dates, any deals they offer to tenants.
That allows
That's interesting. That is very interesting. Like, there's so many stuff that you would not share when you will. I mean, I feel like in Europe you have to. Like, whenever I went to like an apartment that I was like renting when I was in university, they told me everything about the apartment. Like what kind of rent I have, how much rent I need to pay in advance. It was not like whatever it's going to be situation. I had like a fixed price that I had to pay, plus the monthly fee for the apartment. So it sounds interesting that they are doing like this.
then the algorithm to spit out a pricing recommendation, all designed to keep the overall market at its highest peak.
They are not charging what the market can bear. They are controlling the market. It's leading to the exacerbation of our affordability crisis, our housing crisis here in Arizona.
If you could
No
imagine
fucking
a
wonder you guys have
smoke-filled
so much
room where
homeless.
the landlords, the largest landlords in the District of Columbia, came together to decide what they were going to charge in rent, to share their confidential information, everybody would be able to see that that's an anti-competitive practice.
Until recently, using shared pricing algorithms like this flew under the radar. If your algorithm set prices, you'd just say, It's not cheating, it's a suggestion. Not anymore. Lena Khan and the FTC have said just a suggestion, that's price fixing, no excuses. And RealPage, according to the lawsuits, they weren't even pretending the prices were suggestions.
RealPage has a system set up where the landlords who have adopted the system agree to a set of rules.
One of the rules is that RealPage gets to set rent prices. If landlords want to charge less than the digital oracle suggests, they have to justify their decision.
The justification needs to be reviewed by RealPage. RealPage can push back against the justification.
And if you push back too much, RealPage...
Wait, do you have to go through this app to sell like apartments in the US? Or you can just sell it on your own? Because I don't understand, if this is so bad, can they just sell it on their own? Or they just control the market to such extent that you just, like, you cannot do anything?
RealPage can kick the landlord out of the scheme, with one insider telling investigators. Sometimes we were happy to see customers go.
They also had a policing agent that would go out and make sure that the landlords and their leasing agents were staying in line and not deviating from the price that was
That
being
actually sounds like a
This
cartel.
scheme, if true, has had a real tangible impact on Americans.
RealPage advertises that it's going to increase revenues 2% to 7% for the participants in the cartel.
What RealPage is telling these landlords and is doing with these landlords is, don't worry about occupancy rates anymore. It doesn't matter really how many people move out of your building, you're still going to grow your revenue over time.
How? Through these coordinated price increases.
In Phoenix alone, we've seen rent increase 76%.
Holy shit. 76% rent increase? Oh my god. That's insane. The prices that we've seen in the beginning of the video, that's like 3 to 4 times of what an average like Hungarian makes in Hungary. At least like maybe 2 to 3 times at least. That's just rent. That's insane.
Since 2016, it is almost certain that people were evicted.
America's
as
a different
result of
world,
these
man.
Price increases, and that some people were made homeless by them.
No wonder.
To their prospective customers, the landlord.
Wait, what's the average like American like payment? Minimal wage in America. Okay, $7 per hour. Is this the minimum salary? Really? I mean, that's high for me, but like, that's probably not high. Like, how many hours do you work? Like, 180, I would say. Really? But this is after or before taxes? I thought US minimum wage would be so much higher. Because like, Hungarian minimum wage. This is the Hungarian one. This is the 2021. It's a bit higher right now, I think. It's like 200 euros higher or something. Something like that. I mean, it is double, but those apartments were like 1,600 and 1,700 a month, no? What? You guys have a fucked up system. Oh my god.
RealPage is pretty open about all of it.
What?
You can go to their website, type in a zip code, and view a sample of what buildings are using the software.
Okay.
Along with any corresponding.
Oh, those are the monthly prices?
This building right here, rent is actually down about 4%.
Okay.
Just zoom out a little bit, a few blocks over, this rent is actually up 4%. They used to have videos where landlords talked about how RealPage's algorithm pushed them to raise rent, but the company deleted it after the Washington Post ran a story. On investor calls, they're flat out saying the algorithm is going to recommend higher lease rates for every property. But the company goes to great lengths to train landlords to hide this scheme from renters. Landlords were coached across a variety of scenarios and told not to mention RealPage or pricing algorithms to tenants. Instead, they were supposed to say stuff like units were being priced individually. RealPage and the larger industry dispute the charges. Since the onslaught of lawsuits, RealPage has largely stayed quiet, ignoring our request for an interview. But the industry has published a paper defending itself. They make a bunch of different arguments, but it boils down to two major points. The first, sharing info doesn't mean they're teaming up. Why? Because the rental world is just too big and too messy for any sort of secret deal to stick. But that doesn't seem to stand up to scrutiny.
The RealPage algorithm is being used by nearly 90% of the apartment owners in the
Why?
RealPage controls 70% of the rental units in Phoenix, and that they control at least 50% of the market in Tucson.
Okay, I am asking why, but I understand why, okay? The people that want to rent out houses just want more money. I can see that. But fuck. After a while, nobody's going to rent from you. And then you are just stuck with a plus apartment that you cannot do shit with.
90% in DC, 70% in Phoenix. That hardly seems like a fragmented rental market. And their second
Jesus.
point, more
That
houses,
is not fragmented.
less data sharing is the real fix for high rents.
That's bunk. You know, we've got apartment units all over Phoenix that aren't being rented right now because people can't afford them. The spaces are there, but people can't afford them because these landlords are setting artificially high rent via an algorithm. And that is just
I don't get it.
unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable.
It's weird because even in Hungary, no, like normal like plot prices and house prices and even rent went up a lot in Hungary too. I just looked up some housing prices in Hungary, and one apartment in Budapest for a month, it's like a mid-range apartment with like 2 rooms. It was around 600 USDs, which is actually the minimum wage in Hungary. So I guess not just America is the one that's getting fucked over by these things. I am not sure if the system that you guys have is like that much different than how we are pricing here, or there's like some sort of crossover between the both. I'm not sure.
Things are shifting. Renters are banding together in class action lawsuits. Arizona, DC,
That's
and
smart.
possibly North Carolina are suing. They want to end the scheme, refund renters, and find companies like RealPage. The DOJ has started a criminal investigation into the whole thing.
I don't think this is just an Arizona-based problem. This is not the only place where algorithms are being used to set prices.
This is, to me, one of the bigger kind of issues facing kind of our economy and consumers in the next decade or so.
There's a lot of positive things that algorithms and machine learning can do for
Yeah.
society, but there are also risks associated with it. We can't be afraid of technology. We have to lean in and learn about it and make sure that we're keeping the public safe from the
That is a really
abuse that
open
can
mindset.
sometimes flow from misuse of technology.
Exactly. That was so interesting. The fact that you guys have to pay more money for a goddamn normal looking apartment than what you can like guaranteedly make a month, that is insane to me. Especially if there is no competition and there is like some big like whatever like company and like algorithm just ruling over everything with big landlords. That's fucked up. That's scary. Especially with these things. I would be curious to see if you can like go around this thing and just rent your house out whatever you want it to. Or they like come after you in some way. Or maybe they just push those people to the edge where it's like not really possible for them to rent out their houses, or they like, I don't know, if they actually do some cartel shit, like go after you with like machetes and shit, and like, I don't know. Probably not. But this is really damn interesting for me to see. No wonder America has a huge freaking homeless issue, from what I can tell. From Twitter. I mean, you know, I only know it from Twitter. Do you guys actually have a huge homeless issue? It seems like it. There's like, I don't know. I always see these pictures where there's like a bunch of like tents and everything, you know? And there's a bunch of homeless people around. So maybe that's why. And you guys have those big ass fucking trailer parks too. I know that's like a level up from being a homeless, like a big, much higher up compared to living on the street in a tent. But still, that's still not a house. That's weird. That is weird. Well, thank you all for watching. Hope you liked my little reaction to this thing. This is interesting and scary. This housing cartel thing. It is scary. I hope we don't get this thing. That would be interesting. Although our prices went up a shit ton too in the past 3 to 4 years, I feel like. But goddamn. Yeah, leave a like, leave a comment, tell me what you think about this. This is super interesting to me. Tell me about the questions that I asked, please, because I'm curious, actually curious. What the difference between what I see in like on Twitter, on YouTube, or in this video, for example. It would be nice to learn about these things. And have a nice day. Bye bye.